I realize it's still just the beginning of August, but as I saw from our friend Darren Gant, Panthers.com on Twitter, fake fall has descended upon us, at least for a few days. I trust you have enjoyed fake fall so far, sir.
Fake fall is sublime. If you have the opportunity to experience it in the Carolinas, you are among the most fortunate 1% of every human being who's ever lived. It's like for a moment out there, it's normal. It's not 1,000,000 degrees with a dew point about 74, 75. You can actually move around without collapsing into a puddle of your own flop sweat.
It was when I got up, not only this morning, but yesterday morning, and to a slightly lesser extent Saturday morning, it was long sleeves weather when I'm like, wow, like the coffee, like you needed, you held the mug with two hands, just get a little extra warmth into your body. All right, so FanFest was Saturday. Walk me through that. There's a lot of excitement going into this season. Fans are always excited about the season. But what have you noticed in terms of a change around this team from last year to this year?
Well, I think, the roster is better, deeper, and more accomplished. I mean, they spent the last two off seasons spending a bunch of money in free agency, upgrading through the draft at a couple of key spots, but it's a legitimate NFL roster at a lot of spots right now. And so those guys, the belief they have and kind of the vibes coming out of camp, you hear a lot of optimism. You hear optimism in every camp
right
this time of year, but those guys are convinced that, they've made strides to the point where they're going to be competitive. I think it's reasonable for them to believe, based on the second half of last year, you add a first-round receiver in Teteroa McMillan who can catch it anywhere on the property. I mean,
right.
The guy's got a wingspan and he's got hands. So everything is in the catch radius for him. And, so it's reasonable for that offense to think they should be a little bit better. I mean, they were already a really good offensive line and they kept everybody, brought everybody back. They were already a good running attack and they added a 1,000-yard rusher in Rico Dowdle to back up Chuba Hubbard. So I think it's fair for those guys on that side of the ball to react that way. And then when you look at what they did on defense, you go out in free agency, spend a bunch of money on Bobby Brown, Turk Wharton to make that line more stable. You got a Derek Brown coming back. You go sign Pat Jones and draft a couple of pass rushers. And then you look around, it's like, hey, we got some dudes over here. So they're feeling okay about things right now.
Darren Gant, Panthers.com, at Darren Gant on Twitter. We'll ask the old guy. I'm going to ask the old guy a hypothetical question that we know is never going to happen, but I'm going to ask it of you anyway.
We love those. Those are the best kind.
Absolutely.
The kind without answers.
Yeah, we'll have answers, but it's probably not going to matter. You mentioned Teteroa McMillan.
Yep.
Xavier Legette, I know, by all accounts, has taken a step forward. And this wide receiver core, and I mean, I hate to keep talking about the same thing, but 2 years ago, it was the worst wide receiver core that I had seen in professional football. And now they're going to struggle to figure out who they're going to have to let go unless they want to keep 7. So walk me through this. Jimmy Horn has been good. Adam Thielen is Adam Thielen. Hunter Renfrow is like the old Hunter Renfrow, everything that we have heard. What is your assessment of that position?
Well, you have accurately assessed it, Adam. It is deep and it is good. And, it's to the point where there are a couple other dudes you got to consider, too. I mean, prior to an injury that, forced him off the roster the other week, Dan Jacinto is a big special teams guy who they had some hope for. Bryson Tremaine kind of fills that spot now as that guy people haven't heard of, but's got a decent shot of making this roster just because somebody's got to run down kicks.
Right.
And he is a big body. He's been on Washington's practice squad in the past couple of years, looked really good in camp. So throw another log on that fire. I mean, they've just got dudes stacked up. I mean, I think I'm hesitant to declare anything this time of year because they hadn't even played the first preseason game yet. But I could see them keeping 7. I could see them having some hard choices to make when it comes to the Hunter Renfrows, David Moore, Jimmy Horns, because if you're not XL, Tetaroa, or Adam Thielen, you better play teams. And you better contribute some other way on this roster. And I think it's reasonable to think Jimmy Horn could be returning punts. I think it's reasonable to think that Hunter Renfro's done enough to justify his spot here. So we'll see. A lot of moving parts, but that's a much better problem to have than going out and signing some of the receivers who are out there on the street. I mean, I've seen DJ Chark and Chosen Anderson's name pop up in the last couple of days. And, when you think about where they are and where they were, that ain't a bad place to be.
No doubt about it. Darren Gann is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. You mentioned we haven't even gotten to the first preseason game. A lot has changed in the mind of Dave Canales because last year, Bryce Young didn't see the field until preseason game number 3. He says he expects the starters to play in games 1 and 2, which I think is great. I think it should have happened last year regardless. What's your read on that? Why do you think he's making this change?
Well, I think because he did it one way last year and they didn't start so well. So let's do the other thing now. I mean, I think that's a natural human reaction. I think it shows and also a maturity of Dave Canales. I mean, how many coaches have you known in your life? You and I have done this for a while. Mm-hmm. Who are like, this is the way I football, and I am going to do it my way, and they will adapt to my way. By golly. And, Dave Canales looked at what he did last year. It didn't work out so great, so he does the other thing. I think that's a positive sign rather than a negative. I am always a little hesitant to put too much into preseason snaps because, I am a little bit of a catastrophist sometimes, frankly. It's always like, what could possibly go wrong? And if somebody gets hurt in preseason, that'll probably cause another reflex and change the way you think. But I just think they wanted to see them get some reps, see them work the operation. I mean, that's the key. It's more than whatever they do. We joked last summer about the drive in Buffalo and how good they looked in that one drive Bryce and the offense played in preseason. But that didn't carry over. So I think they're just going to tweak some things. I mean, they're going to continue to do that. They've got young guys. They need to get some reps. I wouldn't expect we're going to see a lot of Taylor Moton or Derek Brown or cats like that in the preseason, or maybe even Adam Thielen from that standpoint. But, they've got some young dudes who need to run around and do the thing a little bit before the season starts.
Yeah, I just think that it's hard to replicate in practice, even the joint scrimmages. It's hard to replicate the game in those controlled environments that even if you just get the starters A series, 2 series, then that's I just don't think you can. It's just not the same. So, but I'm saying this as somebody who's never played.
There's a number of ways to do this. Pat Mahomes played 20 snaps in a preseason game last year, and he did okay in the regular season. Jalen Hurts didn't play a single snap in the preseason. Worked out okay for him. So, I mean, there's no one true way to skin a cat, even if skinning a cat's a thing you think should happen. And frankly, that sounds cruel. So why would you?
Darren Gann, Panthers.com, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, I'm going to ask the old guy. Given the fact that Micah Parsons has asked or demanded a trade.
Oh, stop it.
Why,
don't do this.
Why shouldn't the Panthers
be better than this?
No, I'm not better.
No. I was just saying, finally, they seem to be in a place where they're progressing normally. People talk about patiently building and having a plan, and they seem to be doing that. You're like the meme of the dude turning around looking at the other girl while his girlfriend's looking at him like, what are you doing? They've finally gotten to this place where Dan Morgan and Dave Canales are trying to build this along a sensible platform, and the first shiny object that comes along, you're like, plan? What plan? Let's
but this is not
first-round picks and Derek Brown and XL and whatever, Chuba Hubbard, whatever the Cowboys want.
No, it wouldn't be that.
Instead.
I wouldn't do what Jimmy Johnson got for Herschel Walker, but I wouldn't have a problem with 2 first-round picks for Micah Parsons.
Boy, oh boy, I would, because then you got to pay somebody $55 or $60 million, and then you don't have first round picks. What if somebody gets hurt? I don't know, man. I just think where they are in the course of building this team out and the way they've done it. I mean, that seems like counter to everything Dan Morgan and Brant Tillis and Dave Canales have done in the last couple of years. I mean, you know, and I think it's a sign of maturity of the fan base that my replies haven't been blown up with people suggesting such thing. I get it. I mean, listen, Micah Parsons is a great player. Anybody that wants out of their team who's really good at their job, fans are going to fan. So get after it. But I just think, to me, it's not sound business to, you know, I'm old enough to remember Sean Gilbert, all right?
Right.
And I think back over the years when Champ Bailey and LeVar Arrington on this roster would have made more of a difference than Sean Gilbert did. So, you know, I just tend to say when you got to give up a bunch of picks and then pay a guy a bunch of money, that's just a bridge too far for me. I mean, there are teams for whom, I mean, when the Buffalo Bills go out and make moves like this, they go ahead and get them a Von Miller, you know, that kind of stuff. That makes sense for teams in that position. I don't know that the Carolina Panthers are necessarily one player away from a Super Bowl, so I would hate, if I were them, I would hate to give up a bunch of future capital to do something like that right now.
See, that's why we asked the old guy. So we can, I'm also an old guy, but you're the old guy.
You weren't expecting a Champ Bailey reference today, were you?
No, it's fine. I've already been thrown off by, I was talking about college football earlier, and our guest brought up, you know, red states versus blue states. And I was like, wow, I just was not ready for that. And it just knocked me into a different mindset. Darren Gant is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, we'll close on Bryce Young.
Wait a minute. I thought we were going to close on a memorial segment honoring the great Young Men's Song.
We are going to mention that. We are absolutely going to mention that.
Okay.
Bryce closed the year on such a high. What are your thoughts as we are entering this preseason into the season? Is this a pickup where you left off? Because I have struggled with assigning proper value to end of season because there's not no pressure, but it's different pressure. What kind of value do you assign to what we saw at the end and what we can expect going forward?
How about if we say some? How about if everything doesn't have to be binary? What if we say some importance? I mean, Michael Penix in Atlanta was trying to prove himself. The Falcons were in a playoff race in that finale, and when Bryce put 5 touchdowns on them. I like the idea of 10 touchdowns, no turnovers, final 3 weeks. That's not everything, but it's not nothing either.
Right, no.
So I think it's fair for them to feel good about where he is. Bryce is just so much more comfortable. I think naturally as a human being. He just turned 24 the other day, had a birthday. I offered him the gift of hydration because I felt like that was the most valuable thing I could offer him on a hot day, and I happen to be carrying a free bottle of water. But Bryce is in a good place. He's, you know, feeling pretty good, and he should because they've done all the things a quarterback wants. I mean, when you think about what does a quarterback need? He needs a running game, needs to be protected. They kept their top 9 offensive linemen in snaps played last year and went out and added Rico Dowdle, like I mentioned earlier. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yep.
So Bryce in a good place. They got him a first-round wide receiver, a top 10 pick who can catch it anywhere on the field. I would think he's in a pretty good place. He's in a position to succeed, which is all you want if you're a quarterback.
All right, final thing for Darren Gant. I thought of you late May, as Spurs was defeating Manchester United in the FA Cup final, which put Spurs into in the Europa final. Europa.
A continental championship,
that's right,
sir.
They won the B flight in Europe, and it puts them in Champions League. But I thought of you because as a Spurs fan, the fact is that Tottenham had not won a title, not won a trophy in 17 years, and now a legend of the club, Youngmin's son, is going to LAFC. So it's got to be bittersweet, although you'll be able to watch him more. Or
I don't
not.
know that I'll watch it. I don't know that I'll watch him more.
Or not,
I don't
right.
know that it's possible or not. No, he is absolutely. I was thinking about this weekend. I think along with Joey Votto, he might be my favorite athlete, period,
Wow.
ever, or at least of the last 25, 30 years. I mean, just because the joy he played with. I've always said Sonny is like joy distilled because you see the way players react to him on the field. He's always doing the little heart thing when
Yeah.
he scores a goal. Yeah, I mean, he's just always so happy, and I want the best for him. And it's, it's going to be hard to not see him. But sports, as the business continues to move along, I am not going to cry because it's over. I'm going to smile because it happened. Because, I mean, listen, I'm standing here wearing a Human Son T-shirt
Look
in
at you.
Charlotte, North Carolina today, and he's just super cool, and I'm always going to appreciate what he did for the club. That scene in May that you mentioned, him lifting a trophy, something every Spurs fan's going to remember for a long, long time.
And it didn't happen with Harry Kane, as great as he was, but it did happen.
Who?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't even remember who that is.
Wow. Darren Gant, Panthers.com. We asked the old guy, and he shot down my question. That was great. Sir, I'll talk to you very soon. Enjoy fake fall.
There you go. Sounds good. I'm going to enjoy some fake football Friday night. Panthers, Browns, Bank of America Stadium. See you there.
You got it. Darren Gant, at Darren Gant,
See y'all.
with 2 T's for extra talent.